here we are again, folks. Welcome to another edition of Vinyl Thoughts. Today, yes, we're going to be continuing to count down my top 10 albums of all time. Today, we're at number 5. Did you miss 6 through 10? Look down below in the description. There'll be links to all of them down there so you can go enjoy all of that awesomeness. And since I don't think I spoke about this in the past 2 videos, I'll reiterate what my rules were, which was in my top 10, I'm only doing 1 album per band. And also they have to be albums that have lasted with me over the years and have a history with me and have proven themselves worthy of being in my top 10 of all time. And also, I prepared a little disclaimer that I didn't play in the last couple of videos, which I think is very important, so let's roll that shit.
Album inclusion and placement subject to change without notice. The views and opinions of current Steven may not reflect those of future Steven. Prices and participation may vary. See store for details.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about my number 5 album of all time, which is this album right here, In Utero by Nirvana. So when this album came out, I was in high school and I was already a huge Nirvana fan. I was one of those kids that was swept up in all of the hype when Nevermind came out. Nevermind was a very important album for me, and I loved the band. I just thought they were fucking amazing, and so there was a lot of anticipation for how they would follow up Nevermind. And I remember hearing a lot of you know, I guess there was no internet back then. Would it be on MTV or in publications? A lot of rumors that this was going to be like a super experimental album, and they were going to totally go against, you know, all of the pop sensibilities because they were done with that shit. And then I remember at one point they actually announced the album title was going to be I Hate Myself and I Want to Die, which ended up being a song title, but okay, you know, as a young person who was a fan of this band, I'm like, you know what, just name it whatever the fuck you want. I just want to hear the shit. And so they ended up enlisting Steve Albini to produce the album, who's very well known and very, you know, indie kind of dude. And his production style is way less glossy than what was done previously on Nevermind. And they did record the album with them, but then they ended up having producer Scott Litt come in and sort of fix things up a little bit, which, to be fair, it may be sacrilegious to some of you indie folk out there, but yeah, I think Steve Albini needs a second opinion on some of his shit. Some of it sounds great, you know what I'm saying, just little tweaks. So I think what ended up being In Utero is pretty much perfect. I spoke about this before when I talked about Bleach, that I love that Nirvana did these 3 different albums. They're very unique to each other. And In Utero is kind of the middle ground between Bleach and Nevermind. It's got poppy elements to it, but the production isn't so glossy. But it's also got a lot of noisiness to it. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of kind of odd songs that don't really have your normal rock pop song structure. And I think that's why the album is fucking great, because it has all of these great elements that made up Nirvana in just one little album. And let's talk about this. This is actually a 2013 reissue, which, like I've said before, I don't really like reissues, but when you're dealing with an album that came out in 1993, it's you either bought it back then or you can't afford it. But this is kind of a cool. Let's open it up here. This is a cool little version because it's got the record all broken up on 3 discs on 45 RPM, and it also includes some B-sides. If you look, Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol Flow Through the Strip, Marigold, which is sung by Mr. Dave Grohl, Moist Vagina, and who doesn't love those, and Sappy. So anyway, and then, you know, some other shit too. So it's a cool little presentation. It actually sounds really good. So it is remastered, but it's not that stupid Steve Albini mix version. Okay, it's not stupid. It's just not as good. I'm sorry. I'm not cool, folks. Okay? I like the shit the way that it came out. And this remaster keeps it pretty fucking close to how it sounded. And that's a big reason why it's grown on me over the years, because it had a subtlety to it. Even the way the album began with the song Serve the Servants. It was a more of a subtle beginning as opposed to Smells Like Teen Spirit, where the album just fucking starts and you're like, bitch, you're on a fucking ride. Let's go. Let's go make some meaningful shit. And this one was a little more introspective sounding, still, rock music, but yeah, it felt like there was a lot more to these songs than there was to Nevermind. And so it's been one of those albums that over the years, you get more and more out of it as time goes on. And to me, another thing that I love about it is that there's two of my favorite Nirvana songs on the same album. The second song on the album, Scentless Apprentice, which is it's just fucking heavy and aggressive, and it's probably the most aggressive Nirvana song, maybe. I don't know. It's great. It's just got such a driving fucking drum beat from Mr. Dave Grohl. But then on the other hand, one of my favorite songs is the song All Apologies, which is a very beautiful song, a very haunting song. And it's one of those songs that now, years later, knowing that this is the last Nirvana album and soon after that, Kurt Cobain would commit suicide or be murdered, depending on what your theory is. But it's a very haunting sounding song because it kind of sounds like the ending of a song, like the credits would be rolling during All Apologies. And so it hits a nerve with me every time I hear it. It's such a great song, such a great fucking album. I could probably go on for a lot longer about this, but as I've learned from out there in the internet lands, you're either a Nirvana fan or you really want to tell people that you're not a Nirvana fan. And personally, fuck you. Anyway, so that is my number 5 album of all time, In Utero by Nirvana. So let me know how you think, how you feel, what you think. Want to just put some shit down in the comments. If you're just going to shit talk Nirvana, you're wasting your time and my time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back next time with my number 4, so stay tuned.